Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. Today we will be talking about one of the topics in A-level, which is the limiting factors. And how do we revise it? First, you need to understand what is the meaning of limiting factors.
Limiting factors is when the business is unable to produce sufficiently to satisfy sales demand, such as shortage of material, shortage of labor, and many more. In this topic, you need to remember some steps to calculate and answer the questions later. Rule number 1. Calculate the contribution, which is sales minus variable cost equals to contribution. Rule number 2. Calculate the labor hours per unit used, which is contribution divided by the labor hour rate. Third, calculate the contribution per unit labor hour, which is contribution divided by the labor hour per unit used. Lastly, after you finish all the 3 rules, don't forget the ranking. If you memorize all these steps, you will never struggle answering the questions later.
Now, let's try some questions from the past year paper. So, Purpose Ltd manufactures 3 different models of calculators, A's, B, and C. The market research indicates that in the coming year, the maximum demand for the company's products are as follows. So, the budget is given, budgeted units of A's, B, and C, sales revenue, direct material, direct labor, variable overheads, fixed overheads, and profit or loss. So notes is that after the budget was drawn up, it is found that only 1,380 labor hours will be available and the labor force is paid at the rate of $5 per hour. And number 2, other budgeting inputs such as variable cost and fixed cost remains unchanged. In view of the shortage of labor, the directors of Purpose Ltd is considering to discontinue the production of Model A's. So for question A, we are required to prepare a statement showing the profit or loss made by the firm if Model A's is discontinued. So we should redo the statement as above but exclude Model A's. By using the format sales minus variable cost equals to contribution, and then contribution minus fixed cost equals to profit or loss. For sales, we have to take the revenue of B's and C's only and plus together. Same goes to variable cost of B and C only, and you should make sure that your workings are shown clearly so that the examiner know where we got the answer from. But for fixed cost, we need to include A's fixed cost and plus with B's and C's, and then we will get the profit of $45. For question B, we need to do the calculation of the optimal production plan for the coming year and hence determine the optimal profits attained. So for this question, we have to do the format revenue minus variable cost equals to contribution as shown in the working. We have to do it for A's, B, and C. So once you get the contribution, you can calculate the contribution per labor hour. So direct labor is mentioned that A's is 600, B is 4,200, and C is 2,700. So take the direct labor of A 600 divided by 5, as it is mentioned that labor force is paid at the rate of $5 per hour equals to 120, and do the same for B and C. After that, take the contribution and divide it by 120 for A's, which will equals to 5, and same goes to B and C. After that, you will be able to rank the products.
Next, in the question, it says that only 1,380 labor hours will be available. Using the rankings, we can know which models is the best to produce first, which is A's. So, calculation will be 1,000 units times 0.12. How do I get 0.12? In our previous calculation, we already have the labor hour used per unit. Using this, to calculate how many hours used to produce 1 unit,